Hey guys, how you doing? This is jpsarrireviews coming to you once again with another episode of Age of Heroes, my podcast. Welcome. We're starting the week very strong as usual. There's a lot of stuff going on in the entertainment world, in the collectible world, in the comics, and gaming. There's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot to talk about. And this podcast is about that, about having these conversations about things that are important for the moment and that we all care about and we want to share. And my purpose is to give you wisdom, if I can share that, if I have it, because I definitely don't have much wisdom in a lot of things, but also share some knowledge. But most importantly is to engage with people and also to make us think. Whether you agree with me or not in a lot of the subjects, it's important to have conversations. And my desire is for you to have something, an oasis throughout your busy schedule where you can talk about things that we care about, things that are important to you as well. And not necessarily, when we are in the world, we have to talk about business, we talk about work, we talk about family, we talk about finances, about paying bills. But this is about talking about things that are deeper to us, the things that are in our heart. And today I want to talk about something that has been kind of circulating in my mind throughout the weekend. And I want to share a little bit of my experience here in YouTube, as a video content creator. And I want to share that. And I think it's important to also bring it to the table. And I think you can relate. We can all relate with this point. As you know, if you follow my channel on YouTube, this weekend, last week, I talked about San Diego Comic-Con Collectibles. It was pretty much the center of everything. It was the reason I was pretty much making videos. I did a lot of live videos. It was very tiresome. I put a lot of hours on those live videos, but it was fun. It was my first time making live videos, and I definitely loved the format, and I'm going to produce more of those videos or those type of videos. Of course, it was a learning experience, a lot of mistakes, but definitely a lot to learn from it. But I made videos of that, and on the weekend, if you haven't watched it, you can watch it. I make videos of my top 10, one video for my top 10 statues that were showcased at San Diego Comic-Con, and there was another list for my top 10 action figures, also at San Diego Comic-Con. And I had a lot of fun with them. Definitely was fun because I have to go through every single release, everything. I pay attention to all of that, and I chose the ones that I consider were the best at the con. The ones that really were, in my opinion, the best done. The concept was amazing, or it was totally different, and it set these pieces apart from the rest. And I did that, and I have fun. Now, when I uploaded the one for in this case for the statues, one of the highlights for me on San Diego Comic-Con was the statue of Deja Torres. If you don't know who Deja Torres is, you need to read, in this case, the novels of John Carter from March and stuff like that. And Deja Torres has comics. They're comics that Dynamite Comics produce a lot of them, and I read them, and they're very good. They're not bad. I like Dynamite lineup of comics. So Deja Torres is a big character. No, not for everyone, but definitely it's a great character. The statue that was produced by in this case by Sideshow for the character, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful piece, beautiful statue. And, it is gorgeous. They did a fantastic job. Well, I make the video. I posted the pictures on the video where I talk about, this piece and what I consider it's within that top 10 list. So I upload it. And all of a sudden, after I upload the video, normally, of course, I monetize my videos. I make a little bit of money out of those videos, of course. And when I monetize, I put the monetization, and when I upload it, then I get in this case, a message saying that it was partially monetized because YouTube flagged the video because of some content. So I dispute that. And they came back at me and they say that they find it that they were correct in their saying in their verdict, and they will stick with it. So which means that it's partially monetized. And to me, it's like, but I didn't do anything on that video that was inappropriate. There was no bad language because I don't use bad language in my videos. There's no full nudity. I don't show nudity, any type of nude bodies. I don't really talk about drugs. I don't talk about, guns. I don't talk about violence. I don't promote violence or bullying or anything like that. Why in the world you are demonetizing my video? And of course, it comes to the conclusion that, because of the pictures of Deja Torres. And that really baffled me that a statue that is, it's kind of a skimpy outfit, you can say that, but she's not doing anything inappropriate. It's nothing inappropriate about a statue like that. It's the character, represents the character. It's not covered modestly, but it's based on pretty much a story that has been in the novels for many years, and it's nothing wrong with that. There's no sexual act happening on that, but according to YouTube, it violates some of the guidelines, and they have to demonetize my video because they don't want the kids that watch the video or kids that come to watch it to feel that they are being, misguided, with content that is not supposed to be for them. So I find it very odd that this happened. I understand, what they trying to do, and they've been trying to do for quite a while, but I found it odd, the mindset that there's something dirty about the body of a person, that just showcasing your body, it's wrong. But you see it all the time on YouTube. I see people, like a lot of this cosplayers cosplaying stuff, and they showcasing a lot of under boob and all that kind of stuff. They're showing a lot of stuff, but these are not demonetized. They're making money out of it, and people are okay with that. I see so much content on YouTube that's still monetized, and they're making money at content that I would consider that is inappropriate, bad in, language. I can say one thing. I do see and I do understand the importance of maintaining a clean slate or maintaining something that is appropriate for everyone. But who determines what, and what determines what? Where are the rules of engagement here? What is good and what is bad? What can be allowed and what disqualifies this? A statue, is that bad? How many statues, Greek statues, have you seen where the body is naked? Is that inappropriate? This is a statue that is not doing any sexual act. It's just a person sitting down. She's sitting in the couch or whatever, and she is being sexy because that's a sexy figure. But it's not inappropriate. It is not inappropriate, at least not in my perspective. And I feel that people are missing, in this case, the forest for the trees with the whole thing. But that's not the only case. I can say that because if you watch my video, recently I reviewed Sensei, Knights of the Zodiac, that is coming on Netflix, that is not on Netflix. And one of the biggest problems of that show is that they make so many changes to the story. One of them is turning one of the characters that for many years, name is Sean, this character dressed in pink. And we always knew when I was growing up that this kid was weird. We know he was strange. But, we accepted it because it was created with that intent. But no, now what Netflix did is that they shaped in this case, the gender of the character from boy to female just to accommodate. So he can wear pink, or she can wear pink now. And I found that very disheartening and disappointing, particularly in Netflix that kind of tries to claim that they are very, I would say, inclusive. And in this world we live in of inclusiveness, I feel that they're just missing the forest for the trees because they do this in order to accommodate for children. They did so many fundamental changes to the show, not because the show was bad or because the story is bad, but because they don't want to enrage the parents and affect or offend the kids. Well, in this case, offend the parents and affect the kids or the children. And primarily in the American market, because there's changes have been done, not necessarily for the world, because a lot of people, if you go through every single review, a lot of people people that grew up with the show, grew up with the original show, are so unhappy. And that happens everywhere because this show was so popular in all over Latin America, in Brazil, all over Europe. It was popular in Africa. It was popular in Asia. It was never popular in the US, which is kind of strange. All the English-speaking countries where it was not as popular. Because, there was not a culture of anime during those years. Something that, Latin America and all parts of the world, they have a long history with anime since back in the 70s. We've been watching anime since the 70s. So definitely that's something that it was really disappointing, the changes, but it goes back to the same thing, is trying to accommodate, to protect the innocence of the kids. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this here today, because I think it's important that we determine what is right and what is wrong. For every person, there's a difference between right and wrong. Right and wrong it's a moral law, but definitely we all have different definitions of what is right and what is wrong. But I do believe that it's important to be honest and to be truthful about the way things are and the importance to not just hiding from our kids from the realities of the world and the truth of the world. To really know that there are things that we need to protect our kids. And I'm telling you, I'm a parent, I don't have small kids anymore. My daughter, she's 18. And I went through the challenge like any other parent to trying to raise my child in a world, in a godly home, because we God believers, we are Christian. But, trying to protect her from everything that was wrong, or things that, I found offensive for her age. Through the different stages of her life. But there were times where, as any parent, when you go, if you have teenagers and all of that, the teenagers kind of rebel, it's part of their nature. And sometimes they do things that surprise you. But it's because they're also trying to discover who they are. And that really, really always brings us to that. I really understood at some point in my life, raising my child, that my child knew more than I gave her credit for. And I feel that sometimes we don't give enough credit to kids of what they already know. Our kids are bombarded day by day by this world, by a lot of things, a lot of ideologies, and a lot of concepts. But the important as parents is not to trying to blind them from the truth, but to really present the truth in a good way. And I think it's important that as parents, we are aware of what our kids are watching, and it's important that we present what we're watching. But there are things that definitely are that we cannot be too prune about certain things, because what we're doing, we're not helping our kids. We are just making our kids worse. We're not protecting them. We are just taking away the truth from them. And we rob them of the experience and to find them the truth for themselves. The truth of the matter is that you cannot protect your kids 24/7. The truth of the matter is that you cannot be there with them when in this case, ideologies are presented in their lives and some ideas, and they have to make choices. All you can do is to love them, to share the truth with them, to be honest with them, and also tell them that ultimately it's their decision to make whether to do right or wrong. Like, for example, me as a Christian, my job as a parent is to teach my child to love God and to fear God and to know the truth of the Bible. But ultimately it's her choice to decide if she wants to follow the saint's footsteps, if she wants to follow God or not. That's just her choice, and I have to respect that choice. And she's making her choices now that she's an adult. But the same happens with everything in life. And I feel that we are missing the mark because, and that happens nowadays, particularly nowadays. I know that we live in a really messed up world where our kids are bombarded with all kind of ideologies, and it is difficult to maintain a godly home or a home, even if you don't go to Christian or you don't go to church. But a home where they are, basic human rights or morals that, you want your kids to have, which is respect, which is honor, which is loving people, caring for people, accepting people for who they are, regardless of their choices, regardless of their gender, regardless of their race, regardless of their financial position in the world of life, education, all of that. You want people to accept people, even though they might not agree with them, even if they're different in their religion. You want people to, to be accepted at your home and for your kids to grow up with that. It seems that in this world of acceptance, we also are missing the mark that we are living in this social justice where everything is kind of like you are boxed in and you cannot do this because you're going to offend this, and you cannot do this because you're going to offend that. So we live in a world full of offense. And we embrace the offense to the point that nowadays people are following, for example, like you can see in the politics, people are following, they disagree with the president, but they follow the Twitter president's account because they want to disagree with him. So we live in this constant offense. If I don't agree with the guy, I don't have to follow his Twitter account. I don't care what he has to say. I just don't follow it. Why do we follow him if we agree with him or disagree with him? And that happens here in my channel too. I see all the time people that follow my channel just because they disagree with me. They're the people that dislike my videos, people that troll my videos all the time, and I have to delete their comments and I have to ban them. Why they do it? Because they live in the spirit of offense. They want to be offended about what they dislike, and they want to make a point about it. And I feel that this is what's happening right now with everything. I found it very disheartening the day I took my video. It takes me time for me to make a video. And for something so ridicule, a very minuscule situation that has nothing to do, that is not offensive, that I don't think any kid should be offended. It's technically telling our kids, oh, showing the naked body is wrong. It is sinful. It is bad. But we all have bodies. And we, under this clothing, we are human. The clothes don't make us human. Our body, our flesh, our mind, our set, all who we are. This is who we are. We have to accept us. We have to love each other for who we are. The body of a woman is beautiful. The same, the body of a man. Teaching our kids that that's important, to know the difference between what is, I would say, good and what is trashy. There's a big difference. This is the difference between seeing a naked body and accepting it for what they are, and seeing something in a morbid way. There are big differences. There are big differences. A statue is not pornography. That is a totally different story. And I feel that this is the big problem. And I can tell you one thing, at the end of the day, I understand and I respect the decision. Ultimately, I just post my videos and I want people to enjoy the content. I know the people that are watching the content are the people that care for my content. Because the bottom line is that when I go through my demographics and I look at all my numbers, the vast majority of the people that watch my videos are in the pretty much mid-20s all the way to their 40s. That's my range. I have 0% of children watching my videos. 0. So the likelihood that one of those kids will watch my videos is very minimum, because it's not engaging. My content is not engaging to them because it's not directed to them. So, any other person have no problem watching a statue of Digitoris. Why is a problem to them? And the same happened going now using the example of the Knights of the Zodiac. The people that are watching Knights of the Zodiac, the people that are going to watch it first and foremost are the people that grew up watching it back in the era. People are in their 30s, people are in their 40s, and also younger generation in their 20s. They're going to watch it. It's not going to be the little kids, but they want to cater to the little kids. They're going to watch it, but ultimately they're going to watch a watered down version. The parents don't like it, and definitely the kids are not going to like it either. It's just how it is. So I feel that this is something that we want to consider. And I wanted to share with you because I feel that we have to be careful that in the way that we're trying to be accommodating to people on every mindset, we also hurting other people. And we have to be mindful of every person. Yes, I can tell you one thing. I'm a firm believer in keeping the innocence of our children. I do believe it. I do believe that children should have a good childhood, protected from a lot of the bad things that are happening in the world. You have to protect your kids. There are things that they shouldn't be watching. I never let my kid, when she was growing up, to watch certain movies. If there was certain language or sex scenes, I never let her watch that. I was very careful about letting her watch certain things. And I feel that that's important. It's important as parents that we have that we have to have the reasoning, and in this case, the tact to do certain things. But there are things that are too extreme, and we have to be careful. In everything, there are always extremes on both sides. Whether you are too prune about certain things, or whether you're too open about certain things, and you too progressive about it. You have to have a happy medium. And as parents and as geeks, we have to choose the happy medium, particularly when we are parents. Because, we at a certain time in our lives, we didn't care, but we come to a place in our lives as when we have to raise a family, that we have to be very careful and to choose the right thing from wrong. But of course, we have to be careful not to be extreme, because instead of helping our kids, we're hurting them. And when we're hurting them, of course, it's going to affect them in their future, in their lives as adults. So that's my opinion. What do you think? What do you think about that? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I have some? I'm right to a certain extent. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you are listening to the podcast and through iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Castbox, TuneIn, Spotify, SoundCloud, you can come to Twitter, you can come to my Facebook page, and you can leave your comments there. So once again, thank you, my friends. God bless. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.